A very warm welcome to you. It's always a pleasure to have you for company each week on the program. Don't forget that we remain your source for all the latest happenings in the world of business. My name is Lucy Nyambi. Affordable healthcare has and is still a problem in many countries, Nigeria inclusive. The Edo State government is, however, taking steps to make a difference in providing affordable healthcare to its people through the Edo State Health Insurance Commission. We join Faith on the CEO Rendezvous for the continuation of our exclusive interview with the Director General of the Commission, Dr. Ilelosa Amegor, who spoke on some of the successes and, of course, the challenges they have recorded since the establishment of the Commission. Let's hear him.
You can't say that in a 30-day period, some people will come and say, oh, I don't feel well. You don't see anybody in facility. And when you ask them, so is my brother? No way, that's not what we're doing here. We're talking of serious work, serious structure, where that can outlive us. So nepotism and ethnicism is not at play here at all. Your capacity to deliver, your capacity to treat our enrollees right, your capacity to make sure the health insurance is working, your capacity to also make sure the supply side is working. That's what we need here.
On this edition also, we bring you highlights from the 2023 Nigerian Association of Insurance and Pension Editors NAIPE 8th Annual Conference in Lagos. The conference was held under the theme, Role of Insurance and Pension Sectors in Building Sustainable Economic Growth under the new government at the Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island. As always, operators in both insurance and pension sectors were in attendance. Let's check out excerpts.
The entire insurance sector, total asset 3 trillion. Zenith Bank alone, I think 12.8 trillion. One bank. Now, when you also look at, in terms of their revenue, what they are earning, almost about 600 or 700 billion. That's also what the entire insurance industry earned in 2022. What am I saying? I tracked this also up to maybe 2013, so 10 years in interval. The total asset size of Zenith Bank was about 3.14 billion, a trillion. So it has multiplied by 4 already. So I'm saying the opportunities are there.
Hello. It's been a rough few months, I know. You've just bought a car and 2 weeks ago you accidentally hit someone else in traffic. Now you've had to pay your mechanic to fix both cars. Then the other day, you get stopped by the authorities for incomplete papers. And now you've had to pay a heavy fine. Tough. Now you've parked your car at home and the fear of something happening has stopped you from enjoying your car and living your best life. But what if I told you I have a solution for you? Ever heard of third-party motor insurance? Well, it's simple. For only a small premium payment of 15,000 naira, you get a massive shield of coverage of up to 3 million naira that protects you from unexpected accidents to other road users. Small premium, big coverage.
Enjoy the peace of mind you deserve and get your third-party motor insurance today for only 15,000 naira. This message is sponsored by the Insurers Committee of NICOM. For more information or complaints on non-settlements of claims, please visit www.nicom.gov.ng or www.nigeriainsurance.org.
You have the new pension scheme. You also have your employer paying and employee paying.
Yeah.
Maybe in Edo State it's a lot easier, but in Lagos, those in the private sector, it's a huge challenge. Those of us in the media, you keep running after your employer. They deduct the money, but remittance has always been a challenge.
You do not expect a body to collect your money and then you now want to give them some regulation. It's very difficult. It's like being the judge and the jury all at the same time. And so when we started, in our laws, it says use a HMO, may or may not. And so we stuck with doing it ourselves, all right? We know that we're in the age of self-tutoring. And so if you go to the internet, any information you're looking for today, you'll get it. And so we didn't hire any HMO. So we collect our premiums, we manage the premiums, and then we send it to our providers, all right? But how we got to that particular percentage for deduction was that there's a body, they're actuarists, all right? Certified actuarists all over the world. One of the best is called Ernst & Young. They are number 2 in Africa. The first is Forbes and Ernst & Young. We actually engaged them about 2 years ago, all right? So they stayed with us for about 3 months, looking at what private sector facilities were charging our usual patients, what public sector was charging, what the ancillary services were charging, what was the state of the economy, what was the base scenario take-up if we started the insurance. Based on calculation and advisory and simulations, they're able to come down to a certain price. It might not be realist, it might not be but to be close to reality so that you will have sustainability of the scheme. And so based on their calculation, they came out with 1.75% of gross salary. So if you take it across the dimensions of grade level 3 to grade level 17, all right, you see that those who are on the higher cadre pay more. All right, that brought some form of equity because it's in percentages. If we put it at a fixed price, those who are the lower cadre will get into the poverty trap that you're also trying to avoid. All right, so we put a sort of percentage to make it equitable for, it's like the rich paying for the poor, all right? The more you earn, the more you pay for those. And so government in generosity also said, these are our productive people, especially the formal sector, the engine room of government. Let us contribute 50% for them. So they are contributing 50% of whatever is deducted from them. So if we deduct 1.75% from a salary worker, government also contributes that same exact for that salary worker, irrespective of your grade. And so that gave the people a lot of enthusiasm to quickly join into the scheme. Because you see that sometimes people are paying less than 400 or 600 naira a year, and other people are paying between 10 and 11,000 naira a year. But if you thought about the services, the benefits, the advantages you get from using many of these facilities, I say, for example, a woman who has difficulty in labor, all right? She goes to the hospital because we have private and public hospitals in our scheme, and she gives birth, all right? Her total deductions is probably in the range of 3,000-5,000, but her service in giving childbirth is probably in 300, 400, or even 500,000 as the case may be, all right? But how are we surviving? Because we are having a risk pool, a large pool. When everybody pays, hopefully, and by God's grace, everybody they don't fall sick at the same time.
That's
that's insurance. So you take a percentage of what you have to take care of, most people, most of the time when they fall sick. And so that's been helping us. But as we grow, we decided to take baby steps. You can't put all the benefits that you have. You think of what happens to people most of the time, and you start putting some rare challenges. As your fund is growing, you start adding benefit. As your fund is growing, you start adding benefit. It's sort of a sinking fund, if you like, all right? But it's for the generality of citizens of Edo State, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your political affiliations, irrespective of your income. It's for everybody to enjoy that insurance scheme that Governor Obaseki has set up.
Okay, so in the mix, the platform for the federal government, how have you also been able to manage?
Okay, so what the federal government is doing is that they take a 1% of consolidated revenue funds of the federation and share it across the 36 states of the federation, including the FCT. And so based on your poverty index in your state, based on your population, they do a sort of calculation and allocate various monies to all the states. Now, where the state government comes in is that whatever the federal government allocates, the state government is supposed to provide a 25% counterpart funding. And let me use this opportunity to also thank Governor Obaseki. We have not had delays, especially coming from him. Of course, we know bureaucracy, there's delays, but when it comes to his table on, in fact, he's the one that always pressures us. Where is the counterpart funding? Because we know that it is a prerequisite to get another fund. Where is the counterpart funding? Can we pay so that the federal government... So again, I want to use this opportunity to thank him and, for his vision and his drive, his commitment towards the health sector. And so because we are one of the states that pay on time, this funding come quickly. Like I just told you, in less than 2 years, we've enrolled 41,000 poor people from what we've gotten from the state and federal government. And the numbers are going to grow before the end of the year, all right? As we're enrolling them, we're also adding more facilities to meet their needs, whether public or private.
Okay, now that brings me to another very um, critical topic when it comes to health insurance generally. Not just health, when it comes to insurance generally, is at the time of claim. For health insurance, it's particularly challenging because when people pay out of pocket, they buy a plan, they expect, believe it or not, they expect heaven on earth. Once they are in contact with what they have paid for, they want to see exceptional service at the speed of light. So how do you ensure that those who are your providers over the last number of years that you ensure that strict compliance to what you have promised and what enrollees are getting at the point of contact with their facilities?
So again, thank you very much. When I hear some questions you ask, it almost seems like you're in insurance business yourself.
Of course.
You know. Okay. So knowledge is ever improving. All right, we're ever learning, and so we're ever dynamic and we are moving. Well, when we started, we knew that we couldn't do it alone. We are not omnipotent, so we can't be everywhere. You know, only God can do that. At the same time, we can be in every place. We did an implementation research, so to speak, across our facilities, took a quantum of people, you know, just to hear their feedback on what was happening in the facility. So most of the challenges we got at the time was that they were giving them inferior drugs. They were not giving them branded drugs. There was stock out of drugs. You would get only paracetamol when you get to the insurance. And we asked ourselves, we are not there. What can we do? What is the next alternative or possibility to closing this gap? And so we were having a lot of, you know, thoughts back and forth on how to bring the pharmaceuticals in, all right, because we know that there's also a level of care that they can give. And so that just quickly incited what we could do at that time. So we quickly engaged the pharmaceuticals and made sure that they could give out of stock drugs when people go to the facility. So if you're an enrollee, you go to the facility and they tell you there's no drug, there's no this, you just take the prescription. It's yours. You have a right to know what your prescription is. No matter what the doctor tries to scribble, you ask your doctor, what's this? He will tell you what it is, even if you're not able to read it. So that prescription, we engaged.
I like the fact that you say you're not able to. We are not always
sometimes,
able to.
many times.
No, many times we are not able to read what doctor scribbles on
You know,
the
they just
paper.
scribble. Maybe they have 20 or 40 people to see. They just keep scribbling. So anyways, we engage our enrollees to say that prescription, take it to any of the empaneled facility, pharmaceuticals across the entire local government. Of course, our website is in the public. People can just quickly check the facilities available within their areas. And so pharmaceuticals began to give these drugs, these out-of-stock drugs that we're finding within these facilities. And before you know, the health facilities began to sit up. We stopped seeing out-of-stock in facilities, knowing that you're going to go to another facility to take the drug. And in the end of the day, if you were expecting, say, 5 naira claims, we'll minus it from the claim you're expecting. So people are always afraid to lose something. And so because they were afraid to lose, you know, that X amount of money from lack of drug, they started stocking their facilities. And today we have almost less than 1% out of drug within our scheme. How do we make sure the people get the quality service they also want? We also did that implementation research and said we have to set up quality improvement teams across our facilities. Whether you're a private facility or you're a public facility, we'll set up quality improvement team. And we needed to do something, a form of semi-autonomous governance, all right? Because if you hear how the collapse happened, especially at the granular level in the facility, they'll tell you, oh, this particular facility receives 5,000 naira a month. We don't get this, we don't get subvention. That's always the story. And so we draw up quality improvement teams across facilities, private or public, that's made up of medical services, nursing services, laboratory services, pharmacy, centered around, you know, satisfaction of patients, all right? And their backbone, their slogan is positive enrollee experience every time they come to the facility. And so this group of people that I've just mentioned, these quality improvement teams, they come up to say, what is their pain point within the facility? Do we need extra manpower in terms of nursing? Do we need extra security? Do we need lighting? Do we need, you know, is it a clinical deficiency we have or is it a non-clinical deficiency? These teams have equal voting rights. And so with the money we pay them, it's appropriated to, oh, this is for manpower, this is for data, this is for emergency when people come to the room. And so it's not written in stone. Those 4 or 5 people, when they come, because they have equal voting rights, they can say, oh, this is what we need to do in this facility to help services, to help improve our services. And they do what they need to do, you know. But what we do is that at the beginning of the year, they give us a work plan. So every facility is supposed to work within that work plan. But if there's an aberration, they come together. They always meet every fortnightly. They come together and say, oh, there's an aberration or, you know, something not in tandem with the work plan, because health is dynamic, you know, something could have changed along the way. And they write to their facility. If it's a primary health agency, they write to the agency to say, oh, they need to do X, Y, Z. You know, let's get that, and less than 24 hours, because we are digital again. If you remember the governor's speech, by the 1st of September, everything is going to be fully automated. I can tell you that the health insurance is already 98% automated now. So they send in their profile to the agency and they get an approval almost within 24 hours, because notification keeps coming to your box, prompting you that somebody has sent a message within our ecosystem. And so this communication, again, also helps us to fill some of these gaps. And so most of these facilities, they know what they need. And at the end of the year, a clinical audit comes, a financial audit comes to see what they've done and to say, oh, they've scored 70, they scored 80. And, you know, you give them a license or an accreditation, so to speak, a permanent accreditation to say, oh, they've met this criteria. And so that's how it goes on over the years, you know, with these quality improvement teams, with these people who come to check what you're doing. We had feedback boxes at the facility for enrollees to fill if they have a problem, you know. We have, we also call our enrollees, 25% of our enrollees on a weekly basis, because we have a 24/7 call center that is working there. And so, you know, just random selection. If we have 250 enrollees, we call 25% of that. And every week, just random selection to ask them, how was their experience? What could we have done? What was the transit time when you went to the facility and between seeing a doctor? You know, was the environment clean enough? Did they have a foul smell? Was somebody there to attend to you on time? Whilst going through the facility, what was your journey map? Is there a place that was really slow? You know, we just ask them questions so that we can go back, you know, to help our system.
Okay, all right? So in the course of asking randomly and following up on enrollees, have you come up with encounters with enrollees that were dissatisfied with the service?
Oh yes.
In cases like that, what do you do? Is it moral suasion on the part of the providers, or you do strict penalization?
No, all right. There are two sides to a coin always, all right? There's your story, there's his story, and there's the story. You know, so you consider this variance of the story by, you know, investigating what has happened to them and see how you can plug the gaps, all right? In cases where we have to alleviate by apologizing to the enrollees, especially if they were blind spotted or if it's an oversight, we do that by writing out a letter of apology and also, you know, just assuading them to forgive the system. In cases where we see that it's outright negligence on the part of the facility, we sanction them. All right. So the facilities, before we engage them, there was an MOU between the health insurance and the facility where they help see all the operational guidelines, the sanctions, the grievances, and how we mitigate against them. So some of those sanctions are meted on them. If it's beyond that, of course, you know that the Ministry of Health is a regulatory body. We also send them, because they are part of the people who also develop this sanction. We also send to them to, you know, do a final check as to what we will do to the facility or what we will do to the doctor or the nurse who was negligent in treating our enrollees. So this M&E monitoring and evaluation that we are doing, the risk and compliance that we are doing within the ecosystem has really helped a lot. But what we tell our facilities is that these systems we have put in place is not to witch hunt you. It's not to say that you are doing bad. It's just to put everybody in check. You know, who's supposed to do who, what is supposed to do what, how, where, and when. You know, you can't say that in a 30-day period, some people will come and say, oh, I don't feel well. You don't see anybody in facility. And when you ask them, so is my brother. No way, that's not what we're doing here. We're talking of serious work, serious structure, where that can outlive us. So nepotism and ethnicism is not at play here at all. Your capacity to deliver, your capacity to treat our enrollees right, your capacity to make sure the health insurance is working, your capacity to also make sure the supply side is working. That's what we need here.
Welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights from the 8th NAIPE Annual Conference in Lagos. The conference provided a platform for exchange of ideas on areas where both the insurance and pension sectors can collaborate rather than compete for economic growth. Happy viewing.
Premiumbeat.com.
The Nigerian Association of Insurance and Pension Editors, NAIPE, recently put together its 8th annual conference under the theme Role of Insurance and Pension Sectors in Building Sustainable Economic Growth under the New Government at the Lagos Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island. Guest speaker was Malam Kasim Garba Kufi, MD CEO, APT Securities and Funds Limited. Welcoming guests to the event, the chairperson of NAIPE, Mrs. Nkechi Naiche Esezobo, noted that they will continue to do their bit to add value. Delivering the same paper, the guest speaker, Malam Kufi, said that the states that are not in the CPS will lack funds to channel their startups.
I pity those states that did not join contributory pension fund. Because whether you like it or not, the person you are expecting to pay you, he is looking for survival. Not you as a retiree. And therefore, states that are not paying this contributory, they are denying the building of this fund. Good enough where a Lagos state that pay as when. But we want more states to do that, because that will bring more investable fund so that those who are in a startup business, they can get something to start with. Once your economy grows, you will not start quarreling that the value of your naira has gone down.
Panelists at the conference this year were Mrs. Yetunde Lori, DG, NIA, Mr. Shola Tinubu, MD CEO, Skip Nigeria & Co. Limited, Ms. Priska Suarez, Immediate Past Secretary General, AIO, and others. Speaking during the panel session, Mr. Tinubu noted that mandating companies to raise capital has not added value to the insurance industry.
Mandating companies to go for capital does not create any plan for that capital. It just means that people are now striving for capital just to stay in business. And what has happened in the various rounds that we've had is that we have not seen the creative ideas for channeling the capital. When any company on their own decides to go to the capital market to raise capital on their own, they usually have a game plan. They know what they want to use the money for. It's channeling into something to grow their business, to maybe create a technological base that could drive it. It could be whatever thing they have it on. But when it's statutorily driven, it's just I need to be able to get this money in before the deadline.
The high point of the NAIPE conference this year was the open forum where participants asked questions.
It is a new scheme. Why is it that military are opting out from it? Like he said, why is it that the workers of National Assembly who initiated the reforms, they are not there? And as of now, the police, even it has passed to second reading, even it has been approved, the police is about to move from it. So my question is that, I'm asking why is that government is not trying to look at this area of deficiency and make sure that the system is workable and put food on our table.
The Nigerian Association of Insurance and Pension Editors, NAIPE, as stakeholders in the insurance and pension sectors are always looking for ways to add value through intellectual platforms.
Hello. It's been a rough few months, I know. You've just bought a car and 2 weeks ago you accidentally hit someone else in traffic. Now you've had to pay your mechanic to fix both cars. Then the other day, you get stopped by the authorities for incomplete papers. And now you've had to pay a heavy fine. Tough. Now you've parked your car at home and the fear of something happening has stopped you from enjoying your car and living your best life. But what if I told you I have a solution for you? Ever heard of third-party motor insurance? Well, it's simple. For only a small premium payment of 15,000 naira, you get a massive shield of coverage of up to 3 million naira that protects you from unexpected accidents to other road users. Small premium, big coverage.
Enjoy the peace of mind you deserve and get your third-party motor insurance today for only 15,000 naira. This message is sponsored by the Insurers Committee of NAIPE. For more information or complaints on non-settlements of claims, please visit www.nicom.gov.ng or www.nigeriainsurance.org.
That's our time on the program this week. I do hope you have enjoyed every moment spent with us. Join us again next week for another exciting package. But in the meantime, feel free as always to connect with us on all our social media platforms. Now, if you miss any part of the program, please go to our YouTube channel, Almond Finance TV. Subscribe and see tons of interesting conversations and events from both the local and international scene. The nominees for the 2023 Almond Insurance Industry Awards will be announced soon. Your votes will make a difference. Visit the website almondinsuranceindustry.awards.com. My name is Lucy Nyambi. Until next time, it's goodbye.